Alright, so this video we're going to look at measuring length, the metric system, and the English system. We'll look at that also. And it's this video is a lot of converting units and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. And so we've got linear units of measure, the English system. We've got 12 inches is equal to a foot. 3 feet is equal to 1 yard, 36 inches is equal to 1 yard, and 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. So, you know, this right here, this is something you need to know. You've got to remember those conversions there. So let's go ahead and get started and convert these problems here. All right, so it's not difficult to convert these things. One thing that you need to remember, and you might want to write this down. I'll repeat it a couple of times so you can write it down, or you can rewind the video. But to convert a measurement to a different unit, you're going to multiply by unit fraction or by unit fractions the given unit of measurement. Okay, so in other words, in this problem they're giving us inches, okay, and we want to convert to feet. So the given unit of measurement, when you're multiplying to convert it, that given unit of measurement should appear in the denominator of the fraction, okay, because we want it to cancel. All right, and when I write it out, I think it'll make sense. And then the unit of measurement that we're converting to, which in this case is feet, that needs to appear in the numerator because that's the one we want to keep when we multiply. So let's go ahead and do 40 inches to feet. All right, so I've got 40 inches and write the units out. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by a fraction. So what I want to do is I want to make this look like a fraction also, because remember, when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply the numerators together and you multiply the denominators together. All right, so I'm going to multiply by, now what do I multiply by? Well, I'm trying to get to feet, right? And I want to get rid of inches. So inches has to go in the denominator and feet is going to go in the numerator. And I can put feet in inches because I do have a conversion inches and feet. See, 12 inches in 1 foot. So in this case, I know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Okay, so whenever you're, just remember, whenever you're multiplying something to a number, if you don't want to change the number, you can only multiply by 1, right? So, like, in other words, if I had the number 3, if I multiply that by 2, well, it changes that number to 6. But if I multiply by 2 and then also divide by 2, well, that's the same thing as multiplying by 1. It doesn't change anything. And that's really what we're doing here, because look, if I multiply by 1 foot over 1 foot, that's multiplying by 1. Okay, but all I'm doing is I'm still multiplying by 1, but I know that 1 foot is the same thing as 12 inches. Okay, and so now we can see that inches cancel, and see, I keep feet, and so that's going to be 40 over 12 feet. right? And so, I mean, I don't know how you want to write this, but if you want to write it as a fraction, that actually reduces to what, 40 over 12. That's going to be 10/3 feet, or you could write it as 3 1/3 feet, okay? Or that's the same thing as 3.3 feet, and this 3 would keep repeating. And you know, that's when you put the line over it. That means that it just keeps repeating, okay? All right, so let's go through some more, and I think it'll make sense, and you know, and you'll get the hang of it. So here I want to go from feet to miles. So I've got 13,200 feet, and now I'm going to put that over 1. Okay. All right. Now I've got to multiply by something. So what am I going to multiply by? Remember, I've got to cancel feet out, and I want to keep what? Miles. All right. So that means miles is going to have to be in the numerator. Feet is going to have to be in the denominator. Now, what do I know about miles and feet? Well, I know in 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. All right. And so this is going to give me what? Well, feet cancel. And so I'm left with 13,200 over 5,280 miles. All right. And so if you put that in your calculator, that comes out to be 2.5 miles. So this would be your answer here. And in the first one, I mean, that could be your answer, this could be your answer, this could be your answer. And yeah, you know, if you wanted to, you could reduce that fraction. I would actually probably just, you know, put them all in a calculator and write the decimal form of them. All right, so what about this one? 9 inches to yards. Okay, so we want to go from inches to yards. So let's look and see what we have. We've got 9 inches, and let's put that over 1 to make it look like a fraction. Now, I'm going to yards, right? So I'm going to put yards in the numerator and inches in the denominator. Now, do I have a relationship between yards and inches? Well, let's go back up here and see. Well, here it says there's 36 inches in 1 yard. So 1 yard has 36 inches. Okay. And so this is going to give me what? The inches cancel. So I'm left with 9 over 36 yards. And so that's what? 0.25 yards. And there's your answer. Okay. Now, let's just make a small note here. It says converting to a larger unit always produces a smaller number, and converting to a smaller unit always produces a larger number. Okay. All right. So let's look at that. So you can see here that inches is a smaller unit than feet. And see how we started out with 40 and we ended up with 3.3. We ended up with a smaller number. That's what they're talking about. We're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. And same thing here. We're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. And then we did the same thing here, a smaller unit to a larger unit. And you notice the number we started with, well, in the end result, they were smaller. You see that? That's what that's talking about. Now see, if we were going to go from feet to inches, then we would get a bigger answer. a bigger number than what we started with. And that's what they're talking about there in that note. All right, so let's look at the metric system. It says the basic unit for linear measure in the metric system is the meter. Okay, that's the base unit. A meter is slightly longer than a yard, 39 inches. Below is a table of commonly used matrix prefixes. So we've got a kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, and milli. And these are the symbols for them. So if you see K, that's kilo, H is hecto, DA is deca, D is deci, C is centi, and M is milli. Now, the kilo, that's 1,000 times the base unit. Remember, the base unit is a meter. So what would that mean? Well, that would mean that if you're going from meters to kilometers, okay, it's telling you how to convert from meters to kilometers. Okay, a kilometer is 1,000 times the base unit, and I'm going to work some problems converting these things, so don't worry about that. And then the hecto, that would be 100 times, deca is 10 times, deci is 1/10, centi is 1/100, and milli is 1/1,000. Okay, so that's, you just gotta know that, and I'm going to show you a way to convert these where it's not that difficult. All right, so some commonly used units of linear measures in the metric system. A kilometer or kilometer is 1,000 meters. A hectometer is 100 meters. A decameter is 10 meters. And then we got a meter is just 1 meter. And then a decimeter is 0.1 meter, centimeter 0.01 meter, and millimeter 0.001 meters. Okay, so that's your conversion there. All right, so now we've got changing units in the metric system. Okay, so here's your examples that we're gonna work, and it's really easy if you can just if you can remember this. It's not that bad. So basically, we listed them all here, from the bigger unit to the smaller. The kilometer, the hectometer, decameter, meter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. Okay. Now, look at this. Larger to smaller. Okay. So if we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, move to the right in the diagram. All right. So in other words, you're moving the decimal. Okay. And I'm gonna go over that. We're gonna so if I'm going from kilometer to decameter, well, I'm gonna move the decimal 2 places to the right. You see that? So if you have these problems on a test, what I would do is I would just write this out on the test. Okay. And the book that I'm doing all this out of had this right here to help you remember it. King Henry died Monday drinking chocolate milk. Say, King Henry died Monday drinking chocolate milk. Okay, so maybe that helps you remember it. So that's how, if we're going to go from a larger to a smaller unit. Well, if we're going to go from a smaller to a larger unit, that means if we start, say, like here, and we're going to move this way, well, move left in the diagram. We move the decimal to the left. All right, so if we were going to go from centimeter to, say, hectometer, then we would move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left to convert it. Okay, and that's what this. See, when we're moving to the right, we're multiplying by 10 each time we move it, and if we move to the left, we're dividing by 10 each time we move it. Okay, so let's look at these examples here of converting. So we want to convert 504.7 meters to kilometers. Okay, so I mean, what I would do is I would say maybe write the 504.7, just write that down. Okay, So how about we do this? Let's see, there's all those problems there. How about we do this? Let's write down kilometer, hectometer, decameter, meter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. Now I know I wrote it down again. I just didn't put the M behind it, okay, behind each one, but just to save space because I think I'd run out of room. All right. So let's look and see what we're doing. We're going from meters to kilometers, right? So we have to move the decimal. We have to move the decimal, what? 1, 2, 3 places to the left. You see that? I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So there's your decimal. So let me go ahead and put meters behind this. This is the same thing as what? 0.5047 kilometers. And that's all it is. And that's why I'm telling you, it's really, to me, it's really, really important if you can write that down. Then all you're doing is just moving left and right, and that's it. All right, let's look at the next one. So we've got 27 meters, and we want to go to centimeters. Okay, we want to go to centimeters. So I'm here at meters, and I want to go to centimeters. So that's what? 1, 2 places. Now, which way did I go? I went to the right. So I've got to move 2 places to the right. So remember, it's understood there's a decimal there. And let me erase this M so I can, to move the decimal. But we got the decimal here, so we've got to go what? 1, 2 places to the right. Put your decimal, add the zeros, and that is meters. And so that is equal to 2,700, because see, I moved it 2 places to the right, centimeters. All right. Let's look at the next one. And, pause the video and see if you can do it. So I've got 704 millimeters. And I want to go to hectometers. Okay. This is may not look like it, but this is an H. Let me write that again so you can read it. That's a H. All right. So I'm starting at millimeters. Okay. So here's millimeters. All right. And like I said, when you write this out, I might just go ahead and put the M behind it. I guess you can do that. That might make it, seem better. I don't know. But anyway, so we're going from millimeters to hectometers. So I've got to go what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got to move 5 places to the left. So let's do that. So there's not a decimal, so it's understood to be to the right of the last digit. And so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we would need to add in the zeros there. And so this is equal to 0.00704 hectometers. And this would be your answer. Let me circle that answer too. All right, so what about this one? I've got 9.71 decameters, and I want to go to decimeters. Okay. So let's just come back up to this. So I've got decameters, and I want to go to decimeters. So I need to move 1, 2 places to the right. All right. So there's my decimal. No, I'm sorry. There's my decimal. So I'm going to move 1, 2 places to the right. And this is decameters. And so that's going to be 971 decimeters. All right. And I hope all this is making sense. It's not too bad. All right, now we have English and metric equivalence. So, this is something you just need to know that. Depending on your teacher, they may make you memorize those, or they may give them to you, on a little formula sheet on the test. Whatever. If they make you memorize them, just memorize them. So here we've got 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, 1 foot is 30.48 centimeters, 1 yard is 0.9 meters, and 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. All right, so basically what we're going to do is just like what we did up here when we were doing these conversions. Okay, it's like that. It's just, see, it's just different numbers. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So I want to do 8 inches to centimeters, inches to centimeters. So it's the same thing of what we just did. So that's 8 inches, and I'm going to put it over 1, and then I've got to multiply. Well, we're going to what? What are we going to? We're going to centimeters, right? So that means I want centimeters on top in the numerator, and I want inches in the denominator. All right? So just draw your line. And this is centimeters up here, and I need inches down here. So what do I know about centimeters and inches? Well, that's where you come back up here, and I know there's 1 inch in 2.54 centimeters. So I know there's 1 inch in 2.54 centimeters. And then when I multiply this out, the inches cancel, and I'm left with about 20.32 centimeters. And there's your answer. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. I want to go from miles to kilometers. Okay, so I've got 125 miles. I'm going to put that over 1, make it look like a fraction. Times, now I want to go to kilometers. So that means I want kilometers in the numerator, miles in the denominator. So that's going to be kilometers in the numerator, miles in the denominator. What do I know? Do I have a relationship between kilometers and miles? Well, look, there we go. 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. So 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. And then we can see here that miles cancel, and I'm left with, see, what does that come out to be? That's going to be about, well, that's going to be 200 kilometers. Okay. All right, so what about this one? Millimeters to inches. Okay, so millimeters to inches. So let's go ahead and write that down, 26,800 millimeters. And I'm going to put that over 1. And I want to go to inches. Okay, I want to go to inches. All right, so let's go up here and look and see if we have millimeters to inches. Well, if you notice here, I don't have anything that goes from millimeters to inches. I have inches. The only thing I have inches is this first one right here, inches and centimeters relating. Okay, so that's not going to do me any good, is it? But what else do we know? Well, let's look at this. So starting out, it's not working out for us real good right now. So let's go ahead and just erase this and think about it. So I don't have anything getting me from millimeters to inches, but I do have something from centimeters to inches. Okay. And I also know that I've got kilometers, hectometers, decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters, right? All right. So we've got that. And I am in millimeters. What if I take this and convert it to centimeters? Then I can go from centimeters to inches. Okay. So you may have to, if you don't have a relationship between two measurements, you may have to convert it to something else and then convert it. Like in this case, well, I'm going to have to convert this to centimeters and then to inches. All right. So now I've got what? 26,800, and that's millimeters. And I need to go to centimeters. So from millimeters to centimeters, I got to move it one place to the left. So here's your decimal, and I'm moving it one place to the left. And so this is equal to 2,680 centimeters. Okay, so now I can go from centimeters to inches. So now I've got 2,680 centimeters, and put that over 1. Now I want inches on top, centimeters on bottom, because I need the centimeters to cancel out, and I want my final answer in inches. And so remember, we've got 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So I've got 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And then if you plug that into your calculator, you're going to get about 1,055 inches. And that's rounded. So let me see, let me punch it in my calculator, make sure 2680 divided by 2.54. Yeah, it comes out to be 1055.11811. Just how many decimal places do you round it to? Whatever your teacher tells you to round it to. Okay, but hopefully you get a good idea there of making these conversions. And if you'll watch these next videos on this stuff, we do more conversions with that and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's just basic conversions here. So I hope the video helped. Go check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.